Well, as you can see, the last few days we've been catching up with some folks from, I'm not going to say back in the day, but some people who worked in the central New York region, mostly, of course, with dirt car. This guy right here, he grew up going to the racetrack because his parents worked at the Speedway, so in order to see them, he pretty much had to go. His parents were Gert and Ernie Farney, and of course you know his brother Dave. We just chatted with him there a little while ago. If you're wondering what happened to Jeff, he got out in 2011, ended up moving down to Port Orange, Florida, stayed in the dental industry, and he's still in that today. And if you follow him on Facebook, he's quite the softball player as he gets a lot of reps in there. So let's head on down and find out what's going on with 62-year-old Jeff Farney. Jeff, man, good to talk to you. How you doing?
Hey, Doug, doing great. Really nice to hear from you. Some good memories coming back here.
I know. And the picture we're looking at, by the way, that was from Weedsport Speedway back when, well, let me see. Let's go through your jobs. Let me see. Canandaigua, you were the GM. At Weedsport Speedway, you were basically the pit steward, or what were you doing there?
I was pit steward and then worked my way into the race director's position.
And it was also pit steward at Syracuse and Rolling Wheels as well. 15 years working in the business, and like we said, grew up around it. So really, your earliest life memories are going to the racetrack, aren't they?
Oh, no question, Doug. As a little kid, I mean, I was told as a baby I was in the grandstands at Waterloo. So, yeah, my family, we've grown up at the racetrack. We all have.
Did you ever think about being a driver, or did you want to follow in your parents' footsteps and work in other aspects of racing?
Well, there was always that thought in the family, but one of my older brothers, Steve, I believe, got hurt trying to race early on, and the rule quickly came out. You can be involved in racing on the administrative side or the business side and live under our roof, or you can race and live somewhere else. I stayed under my parents' roof.
That's true, yeah, because then you wouldn't be able to afford to do a race car because you'd be paying rent too. So
exactly,
good way for them to work that out. Your earliest jobs, you were at Cuba County Fair Speedway when you were how old?
Oh, God, Doug, I was probably about 16 years old, 17. I started parking cars for Glenn Donnelly for the Cuba County Fair and then worked my way into the racetrack facility.
Also drove some pace cars for a while, you told me?
Did drive some pace cars for a little bit. My brother did a lot more of that than I did. I kind of went mainly to the pit steward's position and then worked my way into the tower and then the general manager's position.
So you're 6 or 7 years younger than Dave? And we're not joking here, we're being serious. Is that about right? I
am actually 7 years.
7 years. So he got in first?
He did get in first, yep. My parents were involved. He was... They did a little bit of a pace car driving, and he always wanted to flag. He always did around the house, and he worked his way into the flag stand, and I think the rest is history there.
Did you have a particular end of the sport you wanted to get into as you were parking cars and thinking about where you might go?
I truly always wanted to get to the tower. I had a chance to work with Glenn and Bill McNabb and Bruno DiMatteo, and always wanted to be in the tower. I really liked the position of race director. I liked having control of events and managing them. That was always the goal, and I was fortunate enough to achieve it.
Yeah, because that's, in addition to being GM, that was your main job on race day at Canandaigua, wasn't it?
It truly was, yeah. Yep.
What's the best part? What's the worst part about that job?
Well, Doug, as you know, every night of the week you're going to have some type of controversy. It's competition, so it was nothing uncommon to have 2-3 teams waiting for me at the tower after the event. So that was always the difficult part, but truly, crazy as it may sound, I really enjoyed that part. I always felt as long as you were fair, objective, honest, and explained yourself, the competitors really would understand in time. And I think for the most part it worked. I can't say it always did, but that was definitely the hardest part. The best part was just the people in general. I grew up around the sport, so there's so many people that I've known for so many years. It was just always a special moment just to get to the track to see people.
So what eventually got you out?
Well...
Was it work?
It's a kind of a tough situation, to be honest with you, Doug. I don't really want to get into the details how it all went down, but long story short, just got to a point in my life where I was realizing that I was single at the time. I was working 50 hours a week on my normal job, working every weekend at the racetrack, and it just seemed like maybe I should be thinking of something else in the future. And unfortunately, some circumstances happened, and I was able to go on and look at my future in a different light quickly.
You happy today?
I'm very, very happy. Yeah, the best thing I ever did was moving to Florida. But I miss racing dearly. I can't go to an event without really feeling a little bit hurt because I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, and remember where he is just south of Daytona. So you tell me you do go to Daytona and Volusia a lot?
I do. I make probably 6 or 7 events at Volusia, and I usually do as many events at the Speedway as I can.
Would you ever consider...
Really
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Volusia is where I truly enjoy racing. I still absolutely love dirt racing.
You told me you really like the sprints, huh?
I do. I am kind of a sprint car guy. Yeah, I've always liked the Outlaws and All Stars. I've watched them all, but I am a sprint car fan.
Is it tough for somebody who worked in racing? Because I can't go to the racetrack unless I'm doing something. Do you have the same feeling sometimes?
I sit and critique everything that's going on from the start of the event to the end of the event. Why are they wasting time? What are they doing here? What's going on? Mm-hmm. It's gotten a lot better now. I've been able to go and just watch and enjoy, but I guess always a manager, or once a manager, always a manager.
Would you ever consider getting back in some position? And if so, what would that position be?
Well, Doug, I mean, I would truly love to get back involved. I still have a couple of years in my dental career at this point. I have been interested. I've shown some interest towards positions in the past, but nothing's really worked out at this point. I would absolutely love to be back involved in the future, but I don't know what the future holds at this point.
Would you rather be like administrative, or would you rather have a role on race day, or maybe all of the above?
It would be all of the above. At this point, if I were ever to be able to get my foot back in the door, I would start wherever necessary. I have no problem working the ropes and getting back involved with any organization or any speedway and paying my dues, so to speak. But I would like to get back involved, certainly.
And the big thing, like you mentioned just a little while ago, they always say, the phrase everybody always tells me, is that the racing itself is what brings you into the sport initially, but it's the people that keep you in, and I'm sure you miss seeing a lot of these people up here.
Oh, it's painful. When this year, for instance, watching things going on at Oswego, just all the different teams and people that, may only get to see a couple of times a year, but people that you really had good friendships with, it's painful. It really does hurt, and I was definitely sad this year that I couldn't make it up there.
Yeah, because I'm sure for 50 you really wanted to come up, because a lot of people that hadn't been there in a while were there.
I really did, and it seemed like a great event, and everything went well, and kudos to everybody involved, because it's just growing and getting better and better every year.
Yeah, and it was a nice comeback after what happened the year before. We're not going to get into that too much, but it really was a wonderful... Didn't you make Oswego a few years ago? I thought I saw a picture of you with a group somewhere a few years back.
Yeah, a couple of years I did get to come up, and at the last minute, Jeff Hockman was kind enough to offer me the pace car, and I ended up driving the pace car for the weekend, which, again, it was a great feeling. Just glad to be a part of the organization again and helping out in any way that I could.
Now, I might be wrong here, but didn't you dent the pace car or something, or it got dented when it was around?
Well,
or something?
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't remember that part.
Yeah, it just popped in my head as soon as you said that.
I think they asked me if I drive the pace car. I drove it into the infield, parked it where they told me to park it. Within 2 minutes, I backed into a cement block and took the rear bumper cover off it. I won't point fingers, but I was told by a flagman to back up, and I'll leave it at that.
Ah, so it didn't even take 2 minutes, huh?
Oh, I wasn't in it 2 minutes, and I damaged it.
Oh, I could imagine how you must have felt. I'm sure you took a pretty good ribbing after that.
I think I apologized to Billy Whitaker every time I'd seen him for 2 years after that.
So it wasn't like a rent-a-car? You didn't have to take out a special policy to pay for the damage or something like that?
No, they were great to me about it. They didn't do anything. In fact, that pace car, I think, hung around for a year or so afterwards, and every time I saw it, I thought, oh, my God, that's my car. That's the one I got right there.
Did it still have the dent in it, or did Billy fix it?
No, they did fix it. They did fix it.
Was that one of those?
Doug, think about that year. There was a close race with Matt Shepard and the white car. And here I am with the pace car, and we literally have the bumper cover just stuck on. And I'm thinking, what if this thing falls off?
Right in front of
somebody hits it, and I'm part of this somehow. All the worst-case scenarios went through my mind, but fortunately nothing happened. And Billy did fix it, and Billy treated me great, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, and it is cool. Pace car is a cool assignment, though, isn't it?
It truly is. It's a lot of fun. My brother did it for years, and he loved it. I kind of like being more involved with the people, but, hey, you can't beat running around any racetrack. It's still a high for me no matter what.
Yeah, I rode in it for an Oktoberfest race a couple of years ago, and I'll tell you, when they're right up on you, talk about adrenaline. We got less than a minute left to go, Jeff, so everybody's you're happy, everybody's healthy, all that good stuff. I know you got a few things that are going on, which we're not going to get into now, so I wish you all the best, man, and let's make sure we do this after first of the year, and we can get a little more specific on some things, okay?
Doug, love talking to you, and certainly Merry Christmas to you and your family, and please let your dad know, get well.
Thank you.
Everybody enjoy the holidays.
Yep. Again, hit that blue E, subscribe. Jeff's been watching some of the stuff, too, which I was a little surprised about. So if you have a suggestion, Doug at Doug's Dirt Diary is still the email. And, of course, you can message me on Facebook. Jeff, you take care. Have a great holiday. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Merry Christmas.